let's do another live stream lesson using our workbooks, our grammar workbooks. This is suitable for beginners, but it's not an absolute beginner lesson. Today we're going to be looking at another irregular verb. So in previous weeks using this book, we've been working our way through irregular verbs. And today we are doing this last one here, the shared irregular. So in previous lessons we've been through the beer, tiget, the regulars, and now we're going to look at the shared irregular. So this is on page 36. This might be a relatively short lesson. We'll see how much time it takes us. But for anyone who is interested, here is an introduction to the shared irregular. So what is the shared irregular? These are verbs in Korean that end with this shared. This is the syllable here, the shared. And it includes verbs like the following. You can see at the bottom here, they have a little shared 받침. 받침 is meaning this final consonant at the bottom of the syllable. So verbs like these are sometimes irregular verbs. That means they conjugate in a non-standard way. They follow their own rule. So what is the rule? Well, what happens is this shared goes away, and then after what's left, you add either an a or an o, and then the yo. So what does that look like? Let's look at this first one. This first verb is 낫다. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see this a little bit clearer. 낫다. This means to get better or to improve. You can use it for talking about your health, for talking about the weather, all sorts of things like that. 낫다. And this is a shared irregular verb. So when you're conjugating it into the present tense, this shared goes away. So you're left with na. And then because this final vowel sound is a, we add an a after it and then a yo. So it becomes na yo. All right. So that is sort of an introduction to how this works. Let's look at this one. This one is jita. Jita means to stir or whisk or row. So it's used a couple different ways. But here, first thing you do is the same. Just take off this shared at the bottom. So you're left with G. All right. And now because this final vowel sound is an E, we add ayo. Remember that if the final vowel sound is a or o, you add ayo. And if it's anything else, you add ayo. So jiayo means I stir or I row in the present tense. Let's look at this one. Butta. Butta kind of actually has two meanings. It can mean to pour and it can mean to swell. But in any case, it is a shared irregular verb. So you first take off the shared, so you're just left with bu. And then because this final vowel sound is u, you add a yo. So buayo is the present tense conjugation of this verb butta. And then this one, jotta. Jotta means to row. Oh, sorry, jitta over here, this means to build. I got these mixed up. This is to build. Jotta is to row or stir. So we first thing take off the shared. Now you're just left with ja. And then because this final vowel sound is a, you add a yo. Ja a yo. Okay. So it's pretty simple how this shared irregular works. Let's look at some more examples with making some simple sentences. This first one, 2. Make sentences using the shared irregular. Make a complete sentence using the pictures and the words provided. Not all of the verbs below are irregular verbs. Words that are shared irregular verbs use the shared symbol. So, important note, that brings me to, not all verbs that end in the shared are irregular. there are some that are just regular verbs that conjugate the normal way. So we'll see that in the examples. Let's look at this first one. A, we have the word 날씨 and 낫다. 날씨 means weather, and 낫다 means to get better. Or in case of the weather, it could be things like to clear up, to get sunny, things like that. So how do you say the weather clears up? Well, we start with our subject, our noun, which is 날씨, the weather. We have some particle here, and then we have this verb 낫다. So take away the 시읒, take that off, and then, just going to highlight all these guys. Because the final vowel sound is a, we add yo at the end. And then which particle do we need here? Well, 낫다, to get better, is a descriptive verb, so we need the subject particle. 날씨가 나아요. The weather gets better, or the weather clears up. All right, B. We have 물 and 붓다. You can probably guess what this word 물 means by looking at this picture. This means the water. 물 is water, and 붓다 here meaning to pour. So how do you say the water pours? Well, this one, so we have 물 is our noun, and then 붓다 becomes 부어요. Now, which particle you use here is actually a little tricky because it could be either depending on the subject, I guess. But we're going to assume that you're doing the action of pouring the water. So that is an action, right? The water is being poured, which uses the object particle. 물을 부어요. All right. Tricky thing about this 붓다 verb, right? It can also mean to swell. And in that case, it uses the subject particle. But water swelling doesn't really make sense. If you're talking about other things like, your face swelling up, or, the mushroom swelling up, then you might use the subject particle. But if we treat this like an action verb to pour something, then it uses the object particle. That one's a little bit of a tricky verb. All right. Now, this next one, C, we have the word 건물 and 짓다. Does anyone know what the word 건물 means in Korean? This word 건물. 붓다. I don't know. Is that a reference to something? Use it? I'm not sure. But yeah. Building. Yes, Valeria. Kylie. Yes, beautiful. It means building. A 건물 is a building. And 짓다 means to build. So how do you say, I build a building in Korean? Well, you start with our noun, 건물, some particle, and then we have 짓다. Take away the 시읒, you're left with G, and then you add 요. 지어요. Hello. So, and then which particle do you add here? Well, to build is an action, right? So we use the object particle. 건물을 지어요. I build a building. Kylie, beautiful, good job. D. Here we have two more words. We have the word 손 and we have 씻다. 손, if you can guess, you can probably guess what 손 means if you don't know it already. 손 means hand or hands. I'm going to put the S in brackets. So how would you say, I wash my hands? Now, careful about this because up here, see, we've indicated each of these with a little irregular symbol. This one does not have a symbol. That means that this verb 씻다 is not an irregular verb. This is not an irregular verb. This is a regular verb. Thank you, Bara. So be careful of this. How would this become the present tense? Well, we're going to start first with our noun, 손, meaning hand or hands. Some particle goes here, and then we have the verb 씻다. But this is not an irregular verb, so it just becomes 씻어요. It's a regular present tense conjugation. Which particle do we use? Well, washing is an action, something that you do, so you use the object particle. Kylie, yeah, good job. 손을 씻어요 means I wash my hands. And of course you can change this noun to anything else to say that you wash that thing. You wash your, I don't know, your vegetables, your chicken, whatever it is. All right, E. We have two new words. We have 남자 and 웃다. Now again, careful, this is not an irregular verb. This is just a normal verb. Why is it So the particle shows that this noun, son, is the object of our verb. The object is what it's being done to, the thing it's being performed on. So 손을 씻어요 has to be the way you say it because you're washing, the action of washing your hands. Your hands is what you're washing. If you said 손이 씻어요, it means my hands wash something, right? Which doesn't make sense, Sana. You're not even learning Korean. That's funny. I like that. This is level 2. This is the level 2 workbook. So if you said 손이 씻어요, it doesn't make sense, right? Because that means your hands wash something, which, I mean, I suppose literally in English is possible, right? My hands wash the vegetables or something. Oh, I wonder if you could say that then. How do we know if a verb is regular or not? Unfortunately, you don't. You just have to memorize them. 손이, my hands, 야채를 씻어요. I'm not sure if you can say that or not. It's a interesting question. But for this, I'm going to say it's What is this workbook called? This workbook is called the Level 2 Workbook. Is there a way to know which sheet verbs are irregular versus regular? It's purely memorization. Yes, purely memorization. I love languages, so I'm here. I'm learning Mandarin, Urdu, Punjabi, German, and Russian. Oh my goodness, you're incredible. All right. So this one, 남자 and 웃다. So 남자 is the man or the guy. So we start with that, 남자, and then some particle goes here, and then we have the verb 웃다. 웃다 means to smile, or it can also mean to laugh. In Korean, those aren't as defined in English, and it can mean either one, but it is not an irregular verb, so it just becomes 웃어요. And which particle do we need here? Well, 남자 in this case is the person doing the action of smiling. If you are the person doing something, you use the subject particle. 남자가 웃어요. 남자가 웃어요. If you said 남자를 웃어요, it doesn't make sense. What would that mean in English? The man was smiled upon, but in grammatically incorrect way. I don't know. I'm not sure how to translate that. The correct way is 남자가 웃어요. The man smiles or laughs. You could also use 는, yes, Jen. You could use 는, 남자는 웃어요, means the man smiles. So 는 or 이카 is the correct one to use here. All right. And then lucky last, F. We have two words. We've got 배 and 졌다. So 배 means boat. What we see here, boat. 배, by the way, also means stomach, and it also means pear. So depending on the context, this has a couple different meanings. Here it means boat. So 배, then some particle, then the verb 졌다. 졌다 means to row. And we take it is a sheet irregular, right? So notice this little symbol tells us that this is an irregular verb. So we take away the sheet and then we add 어요. Now, which particle do we use here? We use the subject particle, the object particle. Why? Because rowing is an action that you do. You row the boat, right? The boat is rowed by somebody. That's the object of the sentence. If you said 배가 져요, that means that the boat rows something. Maybe I need to memorize and understand smile is the man's characteristic. Yeah, the smile is sort of the characteristic or the description of the man. The man is described as smiling, so he's the subject of the verb. So ka answers to who and r answers to what. Kind of. Ka describes who is doing something, and r describes what something is being done to. So if you say, I eat the apple, I is the person who's doing something, apple is the thing that's being eaten, and eat is the verb. So Korean has stroke orders. Yes, it does. Korean does have stroke order. Yeah, so here it needs to be the object particle, right? Because the boat is rowed. It's the object of the verb. If you said 배가 져요, it means the boat rows something else, which doesn't make sense, right? Boats can't row anything. They can be rowed. That requires the object particle. 배를 져요. All right. Now let's have some multiple choice questions, some test our understanding. That's cool, seems all languages do. Yeah, every single language, this is a universal truth about languages. Every language has subjects, objects, and verbs. Those are the foundational parts of every language. And then what languages do with those three components changes depending on the language. They are treated different ways, but every language has those three parts to it. So if you're into languages and into linguistics, you'll quickly become familiar with that idea of subjects, objects, and verbs. And in Korean, the order is subject, object, verb. Whereas in English, it is subject, verb, object. All right. Multiple choice. Select the correct answer to the following multiple choice questions. A. All verbs ending in 시et are irregular verbs. Is this true or false? True. It's false, right? Yeah. It's false. We saw on the previous page that there are verbs ending in 시et, like 씻다 to wash and 웃다 to smile, that end in 시et but are not irregular verbs. B. When conjugating 시et irregular verbs into or present tense, the 시et disappears. Is that true or false? So when you're using an siet irregular verb, what happens to the 시et? Does it disappear or not? Yes, it does, right? We saw that on the previous page. True. C. When conjugating 시et irregular verbs into present tense, 1. New vowel combinations can occur, like wa, wa, etc. Or 2. The added vowel does not combine with the verb stem and is written on its own. So think back to the conjugation that we did on the previous page. See if you can figure out what the rule is here. Is it 1, new vowel combinations occur, or 2, is this vowel added on its own? Kurara, yes. It is written on its own. See how like natta becomes na-a-yo. This a in the middle is written by itself. It's not like kada, right? Kada, when you're changing it into the present tense, the a that you add combines with this a and it just becomes kayo. But with these 시et irregular verbs, this added a is always written on its own. Another example is this buta, right? That becomes buoyo. This o is written by itself, as opposed to a verb like 배우다. This o here combines with the one before, this u before, and becomes 배워요. Yeah, no worries. All right. D. when the verb 났다 is conjugated into the 아어요 present tense, it becomes 1. 났어요 because it is not an irregular verb. 2. 나아요, or 3. 나요. So I just gave away this answer, but you get a free pass, so you're welcome. Yes, right, it's 2. 나요 is the correct answer. E. When the verb 붙다 is conjugated into the present tense, it becomes 부서요 because it is not an irregular verb. 2. 부어요, or 3. 부어요. What does 붙다 become? Again, I kind of gave this away just a few seconds ago, but that's all right. We're just practicing this. What does 붙다 become? Right, good job. It becomes number 2 because this is a shared irregular verb and this O is written separately. It does not combine with the verb stem. So number 2. And F, when the verb 씻다 is conjugated into the present tense, it becomes 1. 씻어요 because it is not an irregular verb. 2. 쉬어요, or 3. 쉬어. What about this verb, 씻다? This is to wash. We had it on the previous page. Right, Kylie, good job. The correct answer here is 1. This one is tricky. It is not an irregular verb. Even though it looks like a shared irregular verb, it is not. It is a normal verb, and it just becomes 씻어요. The shared stays here. It does not disappear. All right. And again, unfortunately, there's no way to know if a verb is irregular or not. You just have to memorize. Question, can you remind us the meaning of those 3 verbs? Of course. 났다 means to get better. And 붙다 means to pour or to swell, depending on the context. And 씻다 means to wash. Yeah. I always thought it was kind of interesting that this word 붙다, when it's in panmal, casual language, it becomes 부어, which actually kind of sounds like the word pour in English, which is kind of interesting. To get better in illness, yes, you can use 났다 to talk about illness. You can use 났다 to talk about the weather. You can use 났다 to talk about your well-being, your emotions, all sorts of things. The same sort of way we use to get better in English in lots of ways. All right. Now let's make some sentences. We have 2 exercises here. This first one is going to combine the shared irregular with another grammar form that we learned in the past. This the grammar form we learned in level 1, and it is the way to make plurals in Korean. So in English, you add an S to things, pencil becomes pencils. In Korean, you add this der to the end to signify that there is more than one of something. So we're going to use the shared irregular and this der grammar form as well. A is this sentence, I connect the ropes. So the verb to connect is ita. Ita is to connect, and we're also given the vocab rope, 밧줄. 밧줄 is rope. We're going to make it plural as well, right? We're going to say ropes with the plural at the end of it, which in Korean is very simple. You just add der to the end. So 밧줄, der. Der is only used for living things. Generally, yes. So generally this der particle is only really used for things like people, things that are alive, but you can use it for objects. It's just not that common. And we were trying to use some other grammar forms in this exercise, just as practice. So 밧줄, der, some particle, and then the verb ita. Ita is an irregular verb, so you take off the shared at the bottom, and then you add o, yo. And then here, to connect, this verb here is an action verb, so we use the object particle. 밧줄들을 이어요. I connect the ropes. 이어요. Yes. All right. B. Only the men recovered. Only the men recovered. So this only is highlighted to show that it uses a grammar form that we've learnt before. In this case, this is the man grammar form that we learnt in level 1. So we're going to also include this. Now how man works is it attaches to a noun, and then the noun you attach it to means only that noun. In this case, the noun that we have is men. This is the plural of man, right? So we've got a couple of things going on. We have the word for 남자, which is man. To make men, we add der. 남자들 is men. And then only men is 남자들만. So it's all one word. 남자들만 is only the men. And now to recover. This is this 났다 verb. And it's in the past tense. So what happens in the past tense? Well, we have 나아요, right? In the present tense. So to make it past tense, we add our 시읒 markers. 나았어요. 남자들만 나았어요. Only the men recovered. All right. C. The builders build a building, which is kind of a crazy sentence in English. But how would we say this in Korean? The builders build a building. Well, we have a couple of vocab words provided to us. We have this 건축가. 건축가 is a builder. So, and remember that Korean sentences go subject, object, verb. So the subject is who is doing the action, which in this case is the builders, right? So the 건축가. And now that is builder. So to make that plural, we add our der. I'm just going to highlight these der so you can see them. 건축가들, some particle. And then the object is the building, right? Subject, object, verb. So the building is 건물, some particle. And then to build. To build is 짓다, which becomes 지어요. So the sentence, and then which particles do we need? Here is the object, right? The object of the verb, so it needs the object particle. Here is the subject, right? The person doing the thing. So this is the subject particle. So all in total, 건축가들이 건물을 지어요. The builders build a building. All right. Good job. And then D, the women row the boat. The women row the boat. So here we have the subject is the women. The women is the word 여자 is woman. 여자 is woman, and then or woman, and then der to make it plural. 여자들. Kylie, good job. And then we have the object, right? The object is the boat. Boat in Korean is 배. And it's because it's the object of the sentence, you use the object particle. 여자들이 배를. And then to row is this verb 졌다. And it is irregular, so the 시읒 goes away and it becomes 져요. 여자들이 배를 져요. The women row the boat. Good job. YE and not in for the subject. That is purely, it's mostly it doesn't really matter in this sort of situation. Both could be correct. You could say 여자들은 배를 져요, and that's also fine. It just depends on what else is going on in the situation, to decide whether you use the subject particle or the topic particle, and without any context, it's impossible to know. Yeah, Things are clicking. Yay, I'm so glad. So you could use the topic particle in any of these sentences and it's correct. It's fine. It just depends on the situation. Yeah. You're welcome. Number 5, we're going to have sentences that use the shared irregular and 더. 더 is the particle meaning only. Not only, also. Also. So what happens is you can attach 더 to any noun and it means also that noun. So let's have a go at that. Alicia, good job. All right, so this one, my throat also swelled up. Notice that the noun that we are asked to attach 더 to is in bold. So that's how we know where to put 더. So my throat is 목 or 제 목. 제 means my and 목 means throat. 제 목. Now, my throat also. Here's where we put our 더 to say also my throat. 제 목도, also my throat. And then we have the verb swell. Swell is 붓다. It's an irregular verb, so it becomes 부, 어, it's also past tense, right? Swelled, 부었어요. 부었어요. Now, when you have the 더 particle, it takes the place of any subject or object particles. So you don't use any of the 이카 particles here, it's just 더. It replaces them. Let's look at B. My headache also got better. So headache is 두통. 두통 is headache. So my headache, you can say 제 두통. Now, how do you say also my headache? You just attach 더 on the end. 제 두통도. My headache also got better. Got better is this verb 낫다, which becomes 나아요. Is it got better? Is that 나았어요? 나았어요, past tense? My headache also got better. Yeah, right? 나았어요. I would say 제 편두통도. I'm not sure there's any difference. I don't actually know if there's a difference between those two words. So use what you're used to, I would say. All right. 제 두통도 나았어요. My headache also got better. I forgot, I'm not sure either. Yeah, I'm not sure. All right, C. A school was also built. So many things were built, including a school. All right, so first we need the word for school in Korean. The word for school is 학교. And how do you say also a school? Here you attach 도 to say also a school. 학교도. And then built. The verb to build is 짓다. It is an irregular verb and it becomes 지어요, but in the past tense, 지었어요. I saw the same word in the TV series I saw on the live yesterday. I'm like, oh, I know. That's the amazing thing. As soon as you start learning a word, you'll start seeing it everywhere. And the best news is that is when those words start to stick. That's when you're actually going to remember those words. Seeing a word once, unless you're like some sort of genius, it's not really going to stick. But you see it once and then you keep studying later in the day or tomorrow or next week, you see it again, you're like, oh, that's that word that I saw. And then those connections happen. That's how you start really knowing those words. And it's funny, yeah, when you see a word, you start to learn it and suddenly it's everywhere. That's how it goes. I've definitely had that experience. All right, D. The young children also rowed the boat. I'm not sure what situation this is, whether women and children are rowing the boat, but maybe, I don't know, maybe the men are all injured or something. Anyway, the young children also rowed the boat. So we're going to have a new subject here. This case is the young children, and it has been provided as vocab. That's 어른 아이. 어른 아이. And then we're going to have, children, Children multiple, plural. So don't forget your plural marker. 어른 아이들. That's the plural of 어른 아이. And then we also have this also as well, young children also. So we have both here. 어른 아이들도. Also the young children rowed the boat. How do you say rowed the boat? First comes the object, which is the boat. 배를. And then to row is 졌다. 졌다 is a shared irregular verb, so it becomes 져요. To row. I, children. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to include the der. You could say 어른 아이도 배를 져요, and that could mean something. It could mean multiple children as well. It's okay to say 어른들 as well. Yeah, 어른들 is just kind of a short form of 어른 아이들. 어른들 is also common to use as well. All right. Oh, it's past tense. Rowed. Good catch. 져었. Oh, yo. Sorry for my... I think I forgot the past tense on every sentence. But thank you, Ma. It is the past tense. So 져었어요. Let me just write that out fully so you can see it. 져었어요. That's the past tense. Okay. So that was some sentences using the shared irregular. You can see that the sentences are not that useful, perhaps. There's not that many shared irregulars. Probably the most common one you'll encounter is 낫다, to get better, and potentially 붓다, to swell or to pour, maybe. But it's just good to know about these irregular verbs. They do show up occasionally. They're not super common, but they do exist, so it's a good thing to know about it. Where is the 좀? They put it underneath because there's no sentence with it. That is a good question. The sentence might have been changed a little bit. What is my Korean level? I'd say I'm intermediate, upper intermediate, advanced, perhaps. I've been learning for probably 8 years now, so not too bad. Thank you. All right, so that brings us to the end of the exercises. There is one final exercise here, which is to do a dictation practice. So I recommend you do that. I won't do it right now, though, but come back and check that out later if you want. Alicia, do I do lives often? I do on Mondays and Tuesdays every week. Oh yeah, 좀 나왔어요. 제 두통도 좀 나왔어요. That maybe it was supposed to go there. I could actually look in the back and see if it's in here. The shared irregular. I don't see it in the answers in the back, so it's quite possible that there was a sentence here that got changed. I'm going to make a note of that. We can take that out. This 좀 out. Ooh. I struggled until intermediate high level in Korea, but I've forgotten a lot. I think this could help a lot. Yeah. It's a language is like a muscle, right? You got to keep practicing it. You got to keep using it. And there's a lot to learn. Learning a language is not easy. It'll come back to you pretty quick, I think, though, once you start putting more time into it. All right. And yes, Kylie, I think that makes sense, though. 제 두통도 좀 나았어요. Got a little bit better is also a good way of saying that. All right. Yeah, so definitely check out the dictation if you want to practice that. It's really good for your ear, to train your ear and practice your listening skills. That's really useful. But in any case, that brings us to the end of today's lesson. So it was a little bit of a shorter one, but we talked about the shared irregular. These are verbs like nata, chita, puta, and jota. Nata to get better, chita to build, puta to pour or swell, and jota to row or stir. These are irregular verbs that conjugate by their own rules. And once you sort of know those rules and memorize that these ones are irregular, you'll be able to conjugate them correctly. All right. And as a final note, this was the book that I was using today. It's called the Level 2 workbook. It is part of a series along with our other workbooks. So be sure to check those out as well. The Level 1 book is what I use on Mondays. On Mondays, I use Level 1. This one I was using today is Level 2. We also have a Level 3 and a Level 4 available as well. So if this was too easy, you can check out a higher level if you like. If it was too hard, you can check out the Level 1 book instead. But yeah, this is what it is. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If you're interested in the book, you can definitely check it out. It's on Amazon. It's on our website. It is linked in this live stream as well. And of course, there is a PDF option available. If you prefer to have a digital version, you can get the PDF and use that instead. Thank you. Thank you, Kylie. Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. And I'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Tell me bye.